Assalamualaikum and good morning to Dr. Adura binti Ahmad and also my fellow friend. We from group Sherlock Holmes would like to present topic 8, the resolution of fraud based on Carlos Ghosn case. My name is Muhammad Azlan Shah bin Muhammad Razi. Matric number is 26564654. So, Carlos Ghosn is a Brazilian-born businessman. Then he was arrested at Tokyo International Airport on 19 November 2018. Carlos was convicted in Tokyo High Court. Japan High Court handled Koso and Kokoku appeals submitted in response to District Court, Family Court or Summary Court judgment. The High Court mainly handled Koso appeal. An appeal filed against a final judgment rendered by a lower court such as the first instance at a district court. A final judgment rendered by a family court and the first instance of a criminal case at a summary court. In 2005, the Intellectual Property High Court was established as a special separate branch of Tokyo High Court, which specialized in intellectual property cases. Next is the charges against Carlos. Carlos, who was a CEO of Nissan, had been forced to step down in 2017 on allegation of underreporting his salary and gross misuse of company assets. Next is charge of aggravated breach of trust. And lastly, allegedly transferring millions of the euro in Nissan fund to a dealership in Oman. The reporter said that the payment total millions of euro was made by Carlos have been used to repay his personal debts. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti Zaika binti Muhammad Nazim, matric number 264689. So today I will present about the civil litigation process. There are 4 stages in the civil litigation process. First, investigation and pleading. Second, discovery. Third, motion practice and negotiation. And lastly is the trial and appeal. In the investigation and pleading, the internal auditor from Nissan have begun investigation about the misconduct committed by Carlos. According to the case, Nissan internal auditor arrested Carlos and Kelly after questioning them about the false accounting allegations such as underreporting his salary and gross misusing company asset, as there is evidence that Nissan pay for the Carlos resident. The company also pay for the family vacation. The purchase of the sum of the resident and the payment of the cost were handled by a company named ZI Capital BV based in the Netherlands that Kelly has instructed the Nissan board to set up to make venture investment in the end of 2010. Nissan compliance auditor began tracking ZI activity in 2014 but were hampered by the company used in the ZI investment. Next, Nissan filed an initial pleading explaining Carlos' alleged underreporting of salary and misappropriation of company asset. However, Carlos denied the Nissan allegation and his request he released on this charge but was denied. There were 2 additional charges which are aggravated breach of trust and understating income. An investigation of Nissan allegedly found that Nissan have paid himself undisclosed $8 million in 2018 for a Netherlands-based joint venture owned by Nissan and Mitsubishi without the knowledge of the company directors. On January 14, 2019, Ghost's wife, Carol, published a letter she wrote to Human Rights Watch postulating his detention. However, Tokyo District Court denied bail again on January 21. Nissan also sued former chairman Carlos Ghosn for 10 million yen, which is $90 million. This is to recoup a large portion of the monetary damage inflicted on the company by its former chairman years of misconduct and fraud. Discovery. The defense attorney for Mr. Ghosn won access to the information found by Nissan internal auditor before the trial began, but prosecutors have blocked thousands of files. Nissan deemed the information too sensitive and prosecutors agree, refusing to elaborate. The judge also have sided with the prosecutor. Ghosn told the Associated Press that he voluntarily agreed to question by the French investigator, believing that face-to-face questioning gave him the best chance of resolving his legal issue, stemming from his turning escape from trial in Japan via a musical box. French investigators also have a biased sources of information as the detail about Ghosn's business dealing, which were taken out of content and completely skewed. Ghosn hoping that the explanation and the document that investigators had it can influence the discovery process. After months of investigation, Bloomberg revealed a series of images showing that Carlos was indeed framed by internal leaders as Bloomberg traced that there are internal tension and strong resistance to Nissan and Renault further integration. Bloomberg keep coming up with the new revelation when they published new document at the end of August 2020, including a series of emails that clearly point to Harinada. Harinada oversees the office of the CEO, internal audit, legal and security things. Before Carlos was arrested, Nada was always trying to get other leaders to fire him. It is also known that Nada was able to get into and monitor Carlos' email account well before he was arrested and without anyone in the company knowing about motion practice and negotiation. Kelly, a former director of Nissan Motor Co., told a court in Tokyo for the first time he thought Carlos Ghosn was going to leave the company after he cut his own salary. Kelly told his lawyer that he thought that after Mr. Ghosn cut his salary, which was much lower than of other global executives, that Mr. Ghosn might not be able to stay with the company. During this time, he also denied there was a plan to make executive pay rise. Ghosn said he deferred his compensation voluntarily and understood that there was no legal obligation for the automaker to pay him if it chose not to. Sentiment negotiation. From Ghosn's perspective, there did not seem to be any change or sentiment, all of him being released from the prison as the judicial process seemed to be take a long time. Due to this, Ghosn changed his strategy by replacing his main lawyer with more aggressive defense counsel, Hironaka Junichiro. In March 2019, Ghosn's new defense team was able to get him out on bail for 10 billion yen or about $10 million. Trial and appeal. French investigators decide questioning more from Carlos, which is also observed by 6 French judges, including public prosecutor and judge who investigate crime as they begin to listen Ghosn's witness testimony. Prosecutors in France are looking into whether he got the place of Versailles for free for his wedding in 2016. Ghosn is also being investigated by the French tax fraud office over suspicious financial transactions between Renault and its distributor in Gulf state of Oman, as well as over contracts signed by Renault Nissan Dutch subsidiary RMBV. It is due to one Renault shareholder filed a lawsuit against Ghosn in Paris about significant sum transferred to RMBV without investor knowledge. In another situation, Kelly defense team began questioning a key prosecution witness in a Tokyo courtroom to show that the alleged underreporting of income by his boss Carlos was blamed by others at the auto company. Since the trial started, Kelly have only given a short opening statement claiming that he is not guilty of the crime. Toshiaki Onuma, who oversaw Nissan compensation, told the court that Kelly did not know how much Goins was paid because that was very private at Nissan. It looked like Kelly played a small role in being consulted to look into the legal way to pay Carlos. Appeal. On October 17, 2019, Mr. Goins' lawyer filed an appeal due to Japan justice system decide to keep all information that was found by Nissan internal auditor from now by Goins' lawyer, which revealed Nissan close tie with Japan court and the way Japan court are too lenient. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum to everyone. My name is Nazira Aisyah binti Nasri. My matric number 264718. I will present 3.0 Criminal Litigation Process in Carlos Ghosn case. I will present this part, which is filing criminal charge, arresting and charging the defendant, preliminary hearings and grand jury, and my friend will present the rest, which is discovery, pre-trial motions, trial and appeal, and burden of proof. First is filing criminal charge. There are 4 criminal charges in this case, which is first on November 19, 2018, Carlos was charged with financial misconduct. Carlos and fellow board member Greg Kelly were indicted by Tokyo prosecutors for conspiring to hide Ghosn's earnings of 5.2 billion yen from the Tokyo Stock Exchange for 5 years starting in 2010. In January 2019, when Ghosn was still being held in Tokyo's main jail, prosecutors brought a second charge for allegedly underreporting a further 4.1 billion yen in the subsequent 3 years. Prosecutors filed a third charge in January 2019, alleging a breach of trust in transferring 1.85 billion yen in personal losses from currency derivatives investment to Nissan in October 2008 during the time of the crisis. The charge also alleged Ghosn authorized a total of 14.7 million in payment from a Nissan subsidiary to a company owned by another individual when the investment were transferred back to the asset management company between June 2009 and March 2012. The fourth charge brought by prosecutors in April 2019 alleged Ghosn illegally misappropriate 5 million from Nissan between July 2017 and July 2018. They accused the former Nissan chief of approving that 3 payments total 15 million to a Nissan dealership, a portion of which was then transferred to a company controlled by Ghosn. Nissan Motor Company also had filed a criminal complaint against former chairman Carlos Ghosn with Tokyo prosecutors following his indictment the same day for aggravated breach of trust. In April, former Nissan chief executive Hiroto Saikawa said a months-long internal investigation had also uncovered evidence that Ghosn used company funds for personal purpose and misrepresent the company's investment. Nissan filed the complaint on the basis of Ghosn's misuse of a significant amount of the company's fund. Next process is arresting and charging the defendant. On November 19, 2018, Tokyo District prosecutors arrested Carlos upon his return to Japan on board a private jet from Lebanon for questioning over allegation of false accounting. Greg Kelly, who is Ghosn's top 8 and former HR chief at Nissan, was also arrested on the same day. Gon was detained at the Tokyo Detention House under Japanese rules that allow suspect to be detained for up to 23 days without criminal charge being filed. Gon and Kelly were reportedly arrested on information provided by an unidentified non-Japanese executive in Nissan's legal department. Charges were filed against Gon and Kelly on the underreporting of deferred compensation on 10 December, along with allegation of additional charges that restart a 10-day holding period without bail. Carlos was arrested once again, more on December 21st, this time for allegedly transferring to Nissan 16.6 million in personal losses from an October 2008 personal swap contract. At an arraignment on 8 January 2019, Carlos appeared in public for the first time since being detained, where he asserted his innocence, making a statement in response to the main allegation against him. However, his bid to be released from prison on this charge was rejected. Carlos' imprisonment was set to end on 11 January 2019. Two new charges were brought against Carlos, which is aggravated breach of trust and understating his income, which resulted in the second round of imprisonment. As a result, he could remain in jail for months more before a trial would take place. Carlos again appealed the denial of bail on 8 January 2019 and offered to meet greater restriction and higher guarantee of appearance in return for his release, including wearing an ankle bracelet and posting his Nissan stock as collateral. Next process is preliminary hearing. Carlos attended a pre-trial procedure at the Tokyo District Court over his alleged transfer of private investment losses to the automaker. The pre-trial hearing, joined by a judge, prosecutors, and lawyers, was held to narrow down points of dispute in the case against Gon over alleged aggravated breach of trust. According to the indictment, Gon transferred personal losses of 1.85 billion yen from derivative contract to Nissan during the 2008 global financial crisis and had the automaker pay 14.7 million to a Saudi businessman who extended credit to him. On May 14, prosecutors request the court revise counts on the indictment, saying the Saudi businessman Khalid Al-Jufari provided about 2 billion yen to Gon around the same time he transferred the losses. A pre-trial procedure for his alleged violation of the financial instrument law is led to take place on June 24. In that case, Gon, his former close aide Craig Kelly, and Nissan are accused of underreporting Gon's remuneration by around 9.1 billion yen in the company's securities report submitted to Japanese regulators over the Act years through March last year. Next, grand jury. The Japanese criminal case has no jurors, just a panel of 3 judges who preside over the proceeding and render a verdict. Pre-trial hearings are held about once a month, with the idea being that the panel and prosecution can narrow the initial charge down to a lean accusation to be handled expeditiously at the trial stage. These hearings double as discovery disclosures, allow the prosecution to parcel out information in stages, with the defense absorb the blows and fighting back without a complete picture of the prosecution. The current allegations against Gon, 4 counts of filing false a financial statement, involve a possible punishment of 10 years in prison and a fine of roughly $19,000. It will take a long-term paper to explore the Japanese system treatment of non-citizens, but Gon's foreign ancestry and citizenship could arguably have an effect as well. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Azlami, magic number 264760. Right now I will continue to present about criminal litigation process. So this part is about discovery. So discovery is the legal process by which this party attorneys try to gain information about the other side case before the trial begins. So we will look what the grounds is about the discovery. So discovery lawsuit have been filed by disgruntled shareholders, business partners, and ex-employees all over the world against Nissan for various reasons. Last year, Pasi filed a wrongful intimidation lawsuit against Nissan, alleging that he was fired after questioning whether the law firm acted in Nissan's best interest. Pasi questioned why the same lawyer was looking into the matter. While out on bail, Gons escaped from Japan. This is questioning that Gons might intend to dodge from the trial. Clearly, trial was used in the subsequent Bloomberg investigation. This included hundreds of document interviews and testimony from the former Nissan executive Sahir. Next, pre-trial motion. So before the criminal trial start, so the defendant can file a motion with the court. So there are two motions here. First, the motion is, can be dismissed. The charge can be dismissed by defendant, or defendant request to suppress certain evidence because it was illegally obtained. So this is about the pre-trial in a Gons case. First, Bloomberg used hundreds of documents, interviews, and testimony from the Great Kelly trial. A former Nissan executive who was arrested along with Gons. Both have strongly denied the accusation, and then later strongly denies any allegation that the internal investigation was biased. Another senior partner at the firm, Michael Yoshi, advised Nissan on everything from its contact with its larger shareholders. So they want to say that Michael Yoshi want to say that do not guilty, do not because he has do his best to advise Nissan on everything from his contact with its larger shareholders. Next, trial and appeal. Any suggestion that Necham and Orchids were conflicted or that any position conflict prevented them from assisting in the conduct of a robust investigation is not supported by any fact. Alright, and next is appeal. So after the jury has written to a verdict a jury finding or conclusion on the factual issue represented by the case, the defendant may file a motion to have the verdict set aside. So the case of Gons here about the appeal, first Nissan failure to fully account for Gons' compensation and securities filing to be interpreted by Japanese authorities in a variety of ways, including the firm Nada. Jadi demo, the term and Orchid was supervising Nada, who was working with a small group within Nissan, and on compensation measures have violated securities law. Lastly, about the burden of proof, concern about the work eventual delays, a malpractice claim may be considered, making the term a party to the lawsuit and declaring that some of its current or former members being interviewed. So that's all for me.
Hi, my name is Samuel Afiq Biamed, market number 264499. I will continue with 4.0 expert winners. Okay, there are 3 expert winners in Carlos Ghosn case. First, we have human rights expert, arbitrary leadership experts, and last one, independent expert. Okay. The first one, human rights expert. A panel of human rights experts working with the United Nations state that former renowned Nissan CEO Carlos Ghosn was wrongly held in Japan and has asked the Japanese government to provide him with the compensation and other reparation. The second one, arbitrary detention expert. The working group of arbitrary detention experts determined that Carlos Ghosn's arrest in late 2018 and early 2019 in Japan was arbitrary and urged Japan's government to immediately take the necessary action to remedy Carlos Ghosn's situation. The arbitrary character of detention is determined using a variety of factors, including international standard of justice. And the last one, we have independent expert. The 5 members working group consisting of independent experts urged Japan to conduct a full independent investigation into Carlos Ghosn's detention and urged the government to take necessary measures against those guilty for violating his rights. The working group believed that in consideration of all the facts related to the case, the appropriate remedy would be to provide Carlos Ghosn an enforceable right to compensation and other reparation in accordance with international law. So based on all the expert witnesses, I can say that all of them are in favor of Carlos. As conclusion for this case, the Securities and Exchange Commission has announced that Nissan and former CEO Carlos Ghosn will pay $60 million to settle charges of false financial reporting. And then the Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit claimed that Ghosn has engaged in a scheme to conceal more than $90 million in compensation from public disclosure, while also increasing his retirement allowance by more than $50 million. According to the Securities and Exchange Commission, Nissan, Ghosn, and Greg Kelly failed to disclose to the public $140 million in retirement remuneration for Ghosn. And last one, Nissan will bear a $50 million portion of the settlement, while Ghosn will bear $1 million portion, and Kelly has agreed to pay $100. So that's all from us. Thank you.